Hey everybody, and welcome to the Laracast snippet. I am finally back in my office after Laracon US, and wow, what a Laracon it was. In fact, by far my favorite Laracon to date. And I don't say that lightly, because every Laracon I've been to has been amazing and I've enjoyed it so much, but this was just something else. There was a buzz, there was something different about the whole thing that just set it on fire. So, let me tell you about what I would consider the 4 key announcements from Laracon US that you shouldn't miss. Nuno Maduro opened the conference with his excellent talk on PES v3, which is available now, right? You can go and run Composer Update. You can check out all of the new changes by watching Nuno's talk, and we'll be covering these updates in detail in the coming days and weeks. But just to cover 2 of my favorite new features, mutation testing is now built into PES. If you don't know what mutation testing is, it essentially takes your application, it's going to make small adjustments or mutations to that code, and then it runs your tests again. And if those tests pass, that indicates that there's something wrong with your test suite because it's not covering those changes. And so it allows you to improve the quality of your tests. Whereas a coverage report only really tells you that something is at least running a line of code, well, mutation testing is actually helping you to understand what your tests are missing. So that's going to be so powerful for helping us to improve our tests using PES PHP. We also have architectural presets now. So we've had architecture testing for a while. It allows you to check things like, are you using the dump and die function? Right? Make sure you're not using dump and die inside your code base, or make sure your controllers all have the controller suffix. But you've had to write all of these architecture tests by hand, manually, in every project. Now there are sensible defaults that you can apply. So there are 5 defaults out of the box: PHP, security, Laravel, strict, relaxed. Let me, for example, just dive into the Laravel one very briefly. The Laravel one will do many things, but one of the things is make sure that your middleware has a handle method. So you're not using invocables, you're using handle. It's just classic Laravel best practice. Or it will make sure that your models are actually all models. You're not putting random code inside your models directory. It will make sure that your requests have the request suffix, that your controllers have the controller suffix. It essentially ensures that you're using Laravel best practice as best as possible. And it does that in one line of code inside your PES configuration. So that really is just a whistle-stop tour of 2 features that come with PES v3. There are so many more. We will be covering them on Laracasts. Keep your eyes peeled. But yeah, excellent talk by Nuno. Very excited for the future of PES. Next up is Verbs, which is an event sourcing package by Chris Morell and Daniel Colborn. Daniel Colborn, you may know from No Plans to Merge. He hosts the podcast with Caleb Porzio. Incredible speaker, white knuckle ride the entire way through. Verbs is an event sourcing package, which doesn't sound exciting at all, but Verbs takes all the technical jargon and the horrible part of event sourcing out so that you can actually enjoy using it in your Laravel applications. And the talk essentially showed why event sourcing is so powerful. So he built this game that the audience could play, but there was a bug in the game. And there were audience members who found the bug, and you can be sure they exploited it. Now, if you were in a standard Laravel app with standard database model state, there's nothing you could do about that. You wouldn't be able to calculate that the users had cheated, and so that bug is on you, pal. There's nothing you can do about it. It's at your expense. But because with event sourcing, you have all of the event history stored, you know exactly how the current state of your application came to be, you can fix the bug, and then you can rebuild all of the world state from the beginning of time. And it's as if that bug never occurred, which means that all the cheaters at the end of the talk were exposed. Daniel knew exactly which users had cheated, and he was able to basically remove them from the winnings, which I think is incredible and such a good use case of why event sourcing is powerful. No doubt we will be covering verbs and event sourcing at some point on Laracasts. So again, stay tuned for that one. But yeah, you should definitely watch Daniel's talk. It was exciting. My heart was racing the entire time. So fun to listen to. And Verbs is such a cool package. So go and check out the documentation as well. Next up is Flux. Flux is a component library for Livewire, but it's really so much more than that. That sentence doesn't do it justice. Caleb Porzio did an amazing, engaging, exciting talk. Just look at the passion on his face in the thumbnail there. On this component library. He spent 8 solid months working on this. Now do a little bit of maths. There are 24 components inside this package, right? 24 components, 8 months. That means that it took him a month to build 3 components. Now, how long does it take you to create a button component? Not long, right? Like a couple of hours, if that. He has put over a week into each of these components. Just think about that. He's thought about everything, from the sizing to what happens when you add an icon to a button, to how does the combo box work with keyboard input? How do you very easily create a full-on command palette with one of those combo boxes if that's what you're interested in doing? How do you make everything accessible? How do you follow all of the web best practice to the letter? All of that stuff that you would just ignore and throw out the window, Caleb has thought about, and he's made it ever so easy for you to just drop this in to your Livewire applications. It is not a free product because not everything in life is free. You have to pay for it. But I reckon if you pay, you are going to earn your money 10 times back in the quality and speed with which you are able to develop using this library. So keep your eyes peeled. I think it's currently available for pre-order, but there'll be more details on pricing and availability in the coming days and weeks from Caleb. You should definitely watch his talk. And I think my favorite thing was before the talk, he was the first talk on the second day. There were some technical difficulties. His slides just wouldn't show on the projector. So he basically did an hour of improv with Aaron Francis, and then he did an impromptu Q&A session with the audience as well. He's got such a fun manner about him. So fun to watch. And I was engaged the whole time. Definitely keep your eyes on Flux. I really do think if you're a Livewire developer, this is going to make your life a whole lot easier. Finally, we have perhaps the most exciting announcement of Laracon US 2024, Laravel Cloud. So you'll know for the last year or so, Laravel has been hiring developers, managers, team leaders at an incredible rate. Turns out they've had VC funding from Excel, $57 million US, and they've been putting that funding to work to build Laravel Cloud. What is Laravel Cloud? Well, it's essentially a little bit like Forge or Vapor, but you don't have to worry about any of the infrastructure. You don't have to bring your own server. You don't have to worry about managing SSL. You don't have to worry about DDoS attacks or putting the application behind Cloudflare. Cloud allows you to go from a local development environment to a live application in less than a minute. Taylor demoed it, took about 40 seconds to go from this local project to a shipped application, which is just incredible. Imagine how fast Laravel devs are going to be able to ship. And scaling is just handled automatically. As you get more users, it will automatically scale for you. You don't have to worry about the infrastructure behind it. But if you're that lone solo indie hacker, you also aren't going to be paying for things you don't use. It will automatically hibernate your applications. And whenever an application is hibernated, you pay nothing. As soon as you make another request to that domain, it will bring it up out of hibernation, ready for you to use again. It does all of this just automatically, auto-magically, so you can focus on what's actually important, shipping. Now, it sounds like I'm doing a marketing speech for it, but it's just because I'm incredibly excited. There was a different buzz at Laracon US, and things have been changing in the Laravel team over the last year. We now know why. This is the start of something very, very new for Laravel, And I think we're going to see a huge influx of developers coming to Laravel for the first time because of Laravel Cloud. It's also just the start, right? Jess Archer did this really interesting talk about analytical databases. So she was talking about a database called ClickHouse that essentially can take in a lot of data. It ingests a lot of data and then very quickly allows you to perform queries on that data. It was a very technical talk, some super interesting stuff in there, but there was just this kind of thought of, well, what are you telling us this? Like, why are you talking about analytical databases? At the end of the talk, she reveals that there's something new coming to Laravel that she will be discussing at Laracon Australia later this year. So you get the sense that Laravel Cloud is just the start. This is a brand new era for Laravel, and we are riding the wave right now. Such an exciting time to be a Laravel developer. Anyway, I'm back in the office. I have so much to cover on all of the things I've just discussed. Stay tuned, keep posted, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey! Oh, what the? Isn't that cool?